Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt so tired? I'm not talking physically, I'm talking emotionally tired. Nothing's going right. Everything seems to be against you. Everyone around you makes life more difficult. The bills pile up. The job tasks are getting too demanding. Relationships might be failing. That you just want to give up. You want to quit. You want to walk away. Well, that's what I'm here to talk about today. I've got the people mowing the bank next door right now. And I know the microphone's picking up on it because I see the little green thing going back and forth when I don't say something. You're not alone. Everyone goes through this. And that's what I'm here to talk about. 8 proven ways to dig deep into your inner strength. And I don't care who you are. Everyone has inner strength. If you really sat down and was to analyze things you've done in your life, you would see that you have it. People call it resilience. People call it overcoming. But inner strength is something that we all have. We just have to tap into it. So that's what this video is about. Those 8 proving strategies to pull out your inner strength, to become more resilient. And I would ask you, stick through all 8 of them. Because number 5, to me, is probably the most important. Now, I'm Spanky Gibson with Spanky Gibson Produces, and I appreciate you all watching this video and any other videos you might have watched of mine. And if you would, I would ask you, if you get some out of a video, like it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can see upcoming videos. Whether they're my jackassery videos or they're instructional videos. Because yes, this channel is all about leadership. But leadership isn't everything that we do, outside and inside the household. But please, stick through all 8, but especially pay attention to number 5. Now first, we have to accept that pain that we feel. Those things I was talking about at the beginning. We have to accept that pain. Now, pain is not permanent. It's temporary. We think about David Goggins. I met David Goggins years ago at Badwater. I was crewing for a buddy of mine's ultramarathoner, and just so happened to meet him at the race at the all the pre-startup stuff, and then actually during the race, he stopped during a 135-mile run and took a picture with me in Death Valley in front of this sign. Such a cool man. But now look at David Goggins. If you don't know who it is, just type in David Goggins. You can see his motivational videos, his inner strength videos. And I think that's important because he's got a great, he's got a great mindset because he had to overcome adversity. Not only in being a Navy SEAL, but being who he was as a football player and then getting into the ultra world and digging into that intestinal fortitude that we all have. But here's the thing, that the pain that you go through is not permanent. It's always temporary. This thing I wrote up here on my notes, Martin Seligman, Mindset of Helpfulness. He has the 3 Ps: permanent, personal, and persuasive. Persuasive. My handwriting's terrible. But that's what gives it. His 3P principle is that pain is this temporary thing. It's not the whole story. If you think about it, the things that suck in our lives only suck for a short amount of time. And then we get back to good things. We got to focus on that. Now next, I want to talk about your core values. You got to have a core value. You have to have it. God, country, core is what we say in the Marine Corps. Now I say God, country, family. You've got to have a moral and ethical boundary in your life. You have to have something that's going to ground you, that's going to say, here's a line in the sand that I will never cross, no matter what. If I'm hurting for money, I'm not going to go rob a bank or rob a grocery store or rob a person. You've got to set your values straight. You've got to put a red line out there and say, no matter how bad it gets, I will not cross this line. And then you got to practice that. You got to keep reassuring yourself of that. You got to keep reminding yourself, here's this red line. I will never cross it. And when you get to that value estimate, you write it down, you put it everywhere, and you remind yourself of it daily, because it's critically important. Next, you got to build mental toughness. Now, small wins. When things are bad, if you do something that's small but it's a win, you've got to weigh on those small wins. You've got to let yourself recognize that you might feel like a failure at this point, but, oh, I got this one, this one, this one. So those wins overcome those failures. And I'm going to tell you, every one of these topics, these strategies, you're going to recognize that throughout your life you've done this because you have it. You have this resilient mindset. You have this inner strength. It's just hard to tug on it when you're in a bad place, a bad spot. So, never allow mental toughness to, go to the wayside. Always lean back to it. It's critically important. And, simple things. How to gain mental toughness. Those small wins. Make the bed. Start your day out doing something that's a win. Accomplish a task before you have to do anything else. Small wins are critical. And when you keep doing these daily small wins and they're repetitive, you're going to see your strength build. It's going to happen. Now, the fourth strategy, stop talking bad about yourself. Stop putting yourself down. We all know this. We are our worst enemy. Stop being your worst enemy. If you fail at something or something doesn't go right, stop telling yourself you suck or you're a failure. That's the worst thing we can do. I mean, there's this guy, Dr. Neff, on self-compassion. I'll put it in the description box. He talks about the emotional resilience. And he talks about how we are our worst enemy. Now, we all know that. I judge myself harder than anybody else can judge me. And it's a defense mechanism. It's so that when someone else judges me or criticizes me or gives that corrective criticism, I'll be like, oh, yeah, I already did that. You can't hurt me. Well, stop worrying about that crap. Stop talking to yourself like you're weak, because you're not weak. And I don't mean this to be a hype video. To me, it's a common sense video. It's a leadership video. So you got to stop doing that. Self-talk reset. Tell yourself you are not going to call yourself whatever the word is. Failure, weak, loser, whatever that is. Stop doing it. Now here's step 5. The one I asked you to really pay attention to. Embrace discomfort as a teacher. Because that's what it is. That discomfort teaches us something about ourselves. It goes back to the last strategy. This small wins build you up. The telling yourself you're a loser on the one failure or the one whatever brings you back down. You're doing this ebb and flow. You're sitting in the waves. The down is more important to you than the up. Stop that crap. Pain is weakness leaving the body. Not to sound cliche, but I've heard that my whole adult life. Pain is weakness leaving the body. But I believe it. When I was wounded, I went through my amputation, was in the hospital. I had pain every day. I had all these feelings that we're talking about in this video. But I had to dig deep. I had to do what's tattooed on my arm. F it, drive on. Pain's your best teacher. Pain knows exactly where your limitation is. And guess what? You can get used to pain. You can read your body and know that whether emotional or physical, this pain is not as bad as it was last time, or this pain is worse than it was last time. Well, I know where I'm at now. I know my threshold. I know that line in the sand. And you know what? I'm going to keep going. F it, drive on. Fido. I'm going to keep going. But if you do walk away during that painful emotional or physical scenario, you're going to get comfortable walking away from it. And that is terrible. That is a destroyer of a resilient mindset or your inner strength. So don't do it. So strategy number 6, build a support system that lifts you. You got to surround your people that love you and that will guide you. And when you're down, will lift you up. And in return, you do the same for them. So not only do you have to support yourself internally, but you got to surround yourself with people that know you and love you, that will support you when you need them, and vice versa. So that's critical. And you got to keep building a support system. A support system will definitely help you in the long run. So strategy number 7, develop a purpose-driven anchor. Kind of goes back to 1, the 3 P's, and 4, those values. You know, you've got to be able to anchor yourself to a principle. And then once you anchor yourself to a principle, it's kind of like being a Christian. What do I anchor myself to? I anchor myself to the Bible, God's Word. That's my anchor. Now, I can tether myself to that anchor and I can read all kinds of information, or I can look at all different kinds of outside of Christian principles. But what's it going to bring me back to? It's going to bring me back to my anchor. You've got to make an anchor for everything. So, you know, if your pain threshold goes up, that's your new anchor. Now you base everything off of that. And it is a moving target sometimes for some scenarios. But in other ones, no, you won't leave that. Like a moral value or an ethical value. That line you don't cross. Okay? That's a purpose-driven anchor. Now, who are you living with beyond yourself? Most of us out here have responsibilities outside of our own. So you've got to think of that. One of those possible moving anchors would be your family, your kids, your grandkids, your coworkers, people that count on you, your support network when they need you. You've got to have those things. You've got to build that network. You've got to recognize those that look to you in a responsible situation. And then when you're in those down points, you need to think about that. You need to think about all your responsibilities. If you do that, you'll continue to grow, you'll continue to build, and you will be able to overcome any situation. Because no situation is worse than giving up. Giving up is the worst thing that we can do. Now, lastly, the final scenario, step 8. Be consistent. Be courageous. Look past yourself sometimes, but at the same time, dig deep into yourself. You know, really, truly dig deep. Gather on that intestinal fortitude. Get that inner strength. That stoicism everybody talks about. And put yourself in that position where you can recognize, you know, in psychology, you talk about stressors, especially people with PTS. When they start having a lot of stressors and it starts reminding them of bad times, they let those stressors slap them in the face. But they don't pay attention to all those small, little minor or mini stressors that are building up, you know, especially around the, you know, an event. You know, most people don't think about when you have a traumatic event, as you get to the anniversary of that traumatic event, you'll start noticing these little bitty things that are happening. And they're walking you to that. It's your way your brain's kind of helping you to prepare for the memory of that event. So you've got to look for those things. You've got to look for your own inner strength and your own resilient mindset. So let's review. Review the steps. Accept pain without being defined by it. Know your core values. Build mental toughness through small wins. Master your self-talk. Embrace discomfort as a teacher. Build a support system that lifts you. Develop a purpose-driven anchor. Take consistent, courageous actions. Now you have survived 100% of your hardest days, if you truly think about that. Think of all the tough things that have went in your life. Will you have more in the future? Of course you will. Are you prepared to overcome those? Of course you are. And if you think about these 8 strategies, you will definitely grow. You'll definitely be stronger. You'll be more stoic. You will have the inner strength you need so that in the future, it's easier on you. It's less stressful, less emotional demanding. So if you like this video and you made it to this point, thank you very much. I appreciate you watching all the way through. Like I said at the beginning, like it if you got something out of it. Definitely comment, please. Put your comments below. Share your experiences. Sharing our experiences is what this is all about. Helping one another is the support system. And YouTube is a great platform for us to do it. We have so many freedoms to communicate between one another. Even though we might not know each other or see each other on a daily basis, this opportunity is amazing, and it's here for all of us. Now, yeah, if you want to watch one of my other videos, I'll have them attached to this, be up in one of those corners. But once again, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. And just know, we can overcome anything. You can overcome anything. Just got to set your mind to it. So use these strategies. See if it helps. Thank you.